అందరికీ నమస్కారం ఫ్రెండ్స్. ఈరోజు మనతో ఉన్నారు విజయ్ మోహన్ గారు, ప్రెసిడెంట్ ఆఫ్ టూర్స్ అండ్ ట్రావెల్స్ అసోసియేషన్ ఆఫ్ ఆంధ్ర, ఫాలోడ్ బై అసోసియేషన్ ఆఫ్ డొమెస్టిక్ టూర్ ఆపరేటర్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా, మన ఏపీ అండ్ తెలంగాణ నుంచి. అండ్ మోస్ట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్లీ హీఈస్ ద మెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఎయిర్పోర్ట్ అడ్వైజరీ కమిటీ. సో వెల్కమ్ విజయ్ మోహన్ గారు, ఇట్స్ అ ప్లెజర్ టు మీట్ యూ. DT20 ప్రీమియర్ లీగ్ వైజాగ్లో జరుగుతుంది అండ్ అందరి తరపున కూడా మీకు స్వాగతం. వెల్ విజయ్ మోహన్ గారు, ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ మీ గురించి మేము పర్సనల్గా తెలుసుకోవాలనుకుంటున్నాము.
As you said, my name is Vijay Mohan, and we are more in the tourism sector, where I'm the president of the Tours and Travels Association of Andhra, and I represent the domestic tour operators and also the Association of Buddhism tour operators as their international coordinator, and I'm also the director of the Chambers of Commerce and a few other posts which I hold apart from the airport thing. See, we are more a travel company with, of course, with a lot of interest on sports as a major thing. So keeping that in mind, we have started golf tours, connecting to the golf tours. Then we have introduced a few cricket tours also earlier and abroad. But our strength lies being having our own companies in Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam and Cambodia and Sri Lanka, where we have our own offices in. So that's about what we are.
So by the way, Vijay Mohan garu, you have been very busy in all the activities regarding tours. If you find some peaceful time, what are the hobbies and interests you make?
Honestly, the only thing that I do is I keep traveling, and because I travel a lot of, about 10 days in a month. That actually ends up being my hobby. But however, I've always been a cricket enthusiast, because I had played cricket to a big level when I in fact captained the Andhra under-19 cricket team. So my association with cricket was there until I had a hamstring, a posterior fiber tissue tear on my arm, which I had to give up cricket. But cricket then and cricket now is transformed, so it's totally a different thing, and so that's what I generally do if I'm not in at home or at work.
Well, it's a bit painful to know that it's been a sort of injury that made you put away from the game. Well, regarding cricket, what are the bowling and batting strengths? Could be right-handed.
I was a fast bowler, and I was a middle level partner and a batsman, more an all-rounder. So my cricket was, I played under 19, I played under 25, I played under 25 with the state. Probably without the injury, probably would have gone to a next level, but that's something, it's all if and but, and so that's about what it is.
Yes, sir. Well, how did you find interest in tourism now?
Interest in tourism was a default thing, and this is not a trade that I had come in purposefully. I had actually started this for a friend of mine, who eventually after 3 months said, this is not probably his parents were not keen on doing this. So I had to carry forward, and I kept carrying this. Started with our first business to Nepal. I had gone there to put up a milk processing plant, an integrated milk processing plant. And when I went in, the Indian consulate advised me not to do it, because that was a time when the moistest issues were coming up in Nepal. And milk being a rural product, consulate advised me not to make any kind of an investment in Nepal, because I had support from the Danish government for supplying of cattle also. So that is why we looked at, because they never had processing, they never had milk in packets at that time, and I'm talking about 1997. I'm not long time ago. But since they discouraged, I had to. So since I was in Nepal, I was just looking at an alternative. Okay, since I've come, what we can do here, and that's how this default looking at tourism started. When I was sitting in the consulate, Mr. Tej Bhandari, who was then the marketing officer, also extended an invitation to me to come for a dinner, which they were old. So during the process of dinner, he was saying, why don't you start packages to Nepal, from Nepal to Nepal. So I said, okay, let me look at it since those days and we had manual tickets. And there were only 2 flights from Calcutta per week. So I had booked my ticket after almost 10 days. I was hoping that I'll have to do a lot of research there. But I had no tickets. Tickets were sold out. So there was no option I could come back. So I had to stay back. So process low. I met some hotels and they discouraged me, saying no, no. They gave me a very high price. And when I went back to Mr. Tej Bhandari, who became the CEO of Nepal Tourism Board, and when he called up the hotels started giving me 60%, 70% discount. So that's how I came back and we floated our first package to Nepal, and that's how the beginning happened. And so from then on, we've gone completely into a tourism sector.
Well, how is your experience collaborating with DREAMZ11 Sports Anil Pendela garu and Dr. TDR Reddy garu?
Yeah, Anil and Dr. Garu are very interesting people to understand, and because though I know Mr. Anil for a long time, but after that recent Hyderabad cricket league, Doctors Cricket League, rather to say, which was a very successful event. So then he wanted to do a similar kind of an event in Vizag. So then we looked at how we can collaborate and help each other, and that's how I said, okay, let's. Because it's for the game of cricket. Two, doctors are actually, and we should put it, they are, I mean, the real people for why we breathe on when we have something that comes to us, and when we are sick or anything. So yeah, interacting with the doctors will be a good thing to do. I think usually you to get a doctor to meet him is not easy, but I think at this game of cricket we can actually meet them because they are only into cricket at that time. So that good way we can interact with doctors, and for the first time I think a doctors league is going to happen at Vizag. We said why not we associate and help Mr. Anil whatever way we can in the city of Visakhapatnam.
Well, as a cricketer and sportsman, what was your mindset while you were playing the game and now being away from the game?
Well, to be honest, and in those days, you didn't have this kind of real competitive cricket. Cricket was enjoyed. And we used to enjoy the game, but now what I see is cricket has become a complete commercial activity now. So you need to perform, and it's all about money now. So that's what I see, in terms of a difference between then and now. Whereas today, cricket is one of the rich games. For us, there we had to spend money to play cricket, but here now it's the other way around. Even a Ranji Trophy player ends up earning 5-6 lakhs or 10 lakhs in a year, where there you had to go and spend your money to play the game. So a huge difference in the way game has moved on from then and now.
Now the three huge powers have united. Firstly, Anil Pendela garu from DREAMZ11 Sports. Secondly, Dr. TDR Reddy garu as a doctor, and now you, that is Vijay Mohan garu from tourism travels. So what great things we are going to expect from three of you?
Honest, I think it will still be from Mr. Anil and Doctor will be really doing it, and I wouldn't like to take the credit or anything for what will be the successful event eventually. This is something new for me. Though we've been associated with the game, though we are in events, we do a lot of MICE events, we do cricket tours to various other countries, we do all that. But getting associated with something called the Doctors Cricket League is something new. Whichever way I can help Mr. Anil and Dr. Gar, I'll do it. But let me not take any credit for it, because I think it's their baby, and let it be their baby.
Well, can we hear the phrases like Doctor Tourism, Doctor Medical Tourism, or Medical Tourism things from this point of DT20 Premier Cricket League?
I think for me it could be a challenge trying to convince doctors to. When this idea was brought to me, the first thing that clicked to me was the medical tourism. So definitely, I'm going to take that little bit of opportunity to understand what specialization most of these doctors have, and how we can probably do a little bit of medical tourism, which we are already doing. For example, Dr. Thirmal Ragar, he is a specialist on the spine. One of the few doctors in India or in the world who can do invasive spine surgery, where they don't cut, but they do your spine surgery. So we've got a lot of foreigners to do that medical tourism. We have been associated with him. So medical tourism is not a new thing to us, but however, when we meet more doctors, when we understand their strengths, probably we can also look at that thing, and probably we will look at tours. Mr. Anil was talking to me about doing a tour to Thailand and Singapore for doctors. So probably I think that could also be a new thing that we could do for the doctors.
Okay, sir. By the way, regarding the D20 Cricket Premier League, what was your first thought when you heard about Doctor Cricketer phrase?
It looked interesting and something new you're hearing. We've heard only cricket as cricket, or we've heard about corporate cricket. We heard about various other formats of cricket, even handicap cricket. But doctors cricket, though heard, I don't think was ever done professionally in these, at least the combined states of Andhra and Telangana. And I don't know what was happening in the other states. But I think this new effort that Mr. Anil and Dr. Gar have tried to initiate, I think will go a long way. At least, doctors, we all know, they wake up they start at 8 o'clock and they end up at night 10 o'clock. Probably, this could also be one wonderful way of trying to create a recreation to the doctors, or probably, to make them understand that, because whenever I go to a doctor, I met a doctor the other day. First thing he said, you need to change your habits, you need to exercise, you need to change your food habits. I think probably we will also be able to go to the doctors and tell them, you need to change your habits. It's not you just practicing from morning to evening. Now we have the game of cricket, probably for you also to change your kind of habits. I think this is a good initiative that Mr. Anil and Dr. Gar have taken, and I think I wish them all the luck in this particular aspect that they have looked at, and I see no reason why this will not succeed, especially after the first event at Hyderabad, which they did very, very successfully.
Thank you, sir. Well, you knew the success about Hyderabad DPCL. Now we are planning in Vizag. So this is the edition of Vizag DT20 Premier Cricket League. What are your plans and specialities this tournament is gonna have?
I think it's a challenge between Hyderabad and Visakhapatnam. And Hyderabad has 10 times more doctors, 20 times more hospitals. So the kind of corporate presence there is more. I think, we should take this opportunity to ask the corporates to come forward to support these kind of events, and even pharma companies should take this as an advantage, because this is where, they would be able to interact with doctors. They would actually be able to, be one among them. So I think, Vizag will never be able to come as close as what Hyderabad is, because of, we understand the size of corporates that they're there and here. I know it will be a challenge to do the doctors event, but still, I've heard about 6 teams have already come forward to come and play cricket here, which is a good sign. I heard that Kerala and Pondicherry and Bangalore are also planning to come in and join teams. I think it's a good initiative, and the first series will always be a challenge. The advantage Hyderabad has, you have a lot of private grounds there, and you have floodlighted grounds. So here, there is a limitation. You need to play only in the morning time. So usually what happens, the doctors will always be able to come in the evening time. 5 o'clock onwards, they can come play up to 11, 12. But here, since it's a morning event, that has to be, it's a really big challenge for the organizers. Let's see how it works. But I'm sure doctors will understand and will appreciate this idea of a doctors league at Visakhapatnam and come forward to support the Dreams team to eventually make this a successful event.
Can I know more about your family and personal life?
Okay, I definitely am married, no doubt about that, and I wouldn't want to say I'm not married. My wife supports me along with me in my business. In fact, she takes care of all the accounts aspect, which is the key factor for any business. And we all know women are very good in accounts. I have a daughter. She stays in Houston in US. She recently married in the December of 2021, and She's a IT professional, and my son-in-law uh, is a civil engineer, works for one of the big civil companies in US. So that's about my personal life, if I have to put it that way.
Well, what are your plans and ideas regarding medical tourism?
Well, this is a big market that has to be explored. And for example, we know Sri Lankans come a lot to Chennai, and we also know Vizag is about 30% cheaper than Chennai, and 30% cheaper than Hyderabad in terms of surgery cost. Bangladesh is another big market, uh, where we are trying to look at to get Bangladesh medical tourism to Visakhapatnam, because we're shortly going to have a flight from Hyderabad, from to Dhaka to Hyderabad, and I think that's the time when we can start looking at Visakhapatnam also as a medical destination. We also know the African bloc comes into India for a lot of medical tourism. I mean medical treatments and medical tourism. So there's a lot of scope, and problem is I think the travel fraternity and the hospitals have to work together and understand, and even the travel fraternity has to understand who are the prime doctors, like who's the best cardiologist, who's the best I mean limb transplant, or who's the best eye doctor. We have LV Prasad, we have the best of eye hospitals here, we have the best of corporate hospitals here like Pinnacle, like Apollo, various other hospitals like Care is there. So probably we'll have to do that synchronization, and which is missing between the travel fraternity and the hospitals and the doctors. I don't think we really understand what is the specialization. I've only understood. I know Dr. Tirumala, who's the only doctor who does invasive surgery. So we have worked together. So same way, if the other hospitals can also open up and tell them that we have the strength, and I do know, because in a small study that we did, we knew that Vizag hospitals are 30% more cheaper than Chennai or than Hyderabad, which is a huge difference in terms of costing. So these things, hospitals have to give us more information, have to give us what are the specialist, surgeries that they do, for us to create a product and send it across into the other markets. That's our strength, because we have partners in the other countries which we can take a product. But I don't think that synchronization has happened in this market for medical tourism, and I hope it'll be a win-win situation for us as well as the hospitals. I hope this interview would take some of the hospitals to understand that there are keen people who are ready to do medical tourism. We are ready to get tourism from the other countries. Since we have partners, we can send in the product to them, and they could always push this product. But it is they who have to come and give us information, because if I go to Apollo, I will not get no information from them. It's too difficult to understand. Probably they'll have to give us who's the best, what is their best, or what is their USP. And once we understand the USPs, we can probably take it across to market it. So that's my feeling on medical tourism. But I do believe that we have a lot of scope in the state of Andhra Pradesh, and I would also request the government of Andhra Pradesh also to create a product called medical tourism, which probably is not focused and which is not on their list of selling. Probably we should have a dedicated brochure, a dedicated product called medical tourism, which is on our websites, which is on every platform, for us to figure out and then take this forward.
Well, being a part of DT20 Premier Cricket League, what do you say about the contribution and sacrifice of doctors during the COVID pandemic?
I mean, no two words. And I was one of the patients who was affected at 22.9, which usually means no survival. But I'm sure I know how good the hospitals were, how good the doctors were. I know not me. There were so many who were saved. You will have a lot of critics who say, hospitals have overcharged or whatever it could be. But I'm sure, when they all knew coming in contact was also coming in close to death for them, I think there was a huge sacrifice from the doctor's side. I know a lot of nurses, a lot of doctors, who keenly only had one thing in mind to save their patients, and my bow to all of them, and they have done a great job, and I think the whole of country appreciated that, and there was not a single person who would have said that we would have survived without the doctors during the pandemic time.
Happy for your concern. By the way, you look very enthusiastic and active. So, what are the tips? How do you maintain the health?
Uh, I am one of those worst guys, and in fact, I was reading on Mr. Anuja, that one of these industrialists who died. I read an article which came to me, which I saw. He said the best investment that one should do is on your health. And the moment I read that, I went in for a complete medical checkup. I understood if a billionaire or a person who saw everything great success in life, and eventually when he died, just before he died, he made this statement because he was sick. I mean, for a lot of issues. So when he made this statement, I figured out I should frankly agree that statement inspired me. And 3 days back, I went to Pinnacle to get a complete medical checkup, a complete analysis of my heart, my body, whatever it was. And good, as of Dr. Sinha, who is one of the best cardiologists here, said not much, just have a little bit of cholesterol, and you need to change your habits in terms of food, in terms of exercise, in terms of whatever you want to do. So I believe that the biggest investment. It's a copied statement, not mine. It's definitely we have to actually start investing on our health nowadays, because a lot of people whom I've seen healthy pre-COVID have suddenly become, their health have become complicated due to blocks in their hearts or whatever it is. So I believe that the best investment that now anybody should do post-COVID is to invest on our health.
Greatly said, Andy. Well, how do you feel associating with DT20 Premier Cricket League?
Well, I really enjoy this Sunday because being a cricketer, and especially post COVID, when you started, having that, high regards to doctors. Honestly, pre COVID, I always believed doctors were money making machines. But COVID made me understand, they also have something, where they sacrificed when when it came to the real time to sacrifice. So all said and done, I think this cricket league would probably bridge that kind of gap between a common man who would come to see the cricket of what they play, or their hospitals who come to see the game they play. I think I feel it could probably create it could, I don't know how to put this honestly, but I see something would, at least the way people will feel about doctors is completely different post COVID, and I hope it continues. And I think this cricket league will uh, go down to a lot of people as a different aspect, and to look at things a little more differently. Probably a real opportunity for us to interact with doctors and understand them. And honestly, I have not been able to build the right kind of words, but I'm sure this Doctors Cricket League would change, if not others, at least me, the way I think about doctors.
By the way, as per you, what is the importance of sports in life?
Well, we all know, and see, today's commercial world, or competitive world, I would not say commercial, but competitive world has pushed parents only to think about nothing but study. Yeah. And I understood that this is where all of us are doing mistakes. Probably even I did a mistake, insisting on the kids, my daughter, to study more harder. But anyway, she was not much interested in games. That was an advantage to me, not push her to games. But I think, and today, sports has also become a very commercial thing, and where everybody can make money on any game that they play. Yeah. So I think every parent should give a scope for their children to get into sports, to see if they could excel. Because now any sports has become professional. Every sport has become professional, and every professional sport is an income raiser. You don't have to become an engineer alone today, and you could become a golfer, you could become a cricketer, you could become a footballer. You see so many football leagues that are happening, and people are being paid well. Tennis, squash, even we didn't expect, India could get an Olympic medal in javelin. So I think that shift is happening. But I think now every parent should give a scope to the kid to play some game of his interest. If he excels, probably they should allow them to shift, or they can always come back to studies, because coming back to studies is never late. But going to the game, if you're late, you're late. Should put the kids at the right time in your sports. I know a lot of friends. I know a friend of mine called Chuka Srinivas, who's put his daughter in. The kind of hard work he went through to put his daughter to play shuttle badminton was so much. And today she's under the ATP ranking. She's the number one in the Indian ranking. Let's honestly agree, the kind of hard work she put in, she got a job in Indian Oil as an officer. So it's not to say that, sports is not going to get you a good job. We excel, so we should give that little bit of thrust, push to the kids to see if they can excel, if they can play a good game. If they can excel, we can always make that a proficient term. Otherwise, you can always come back to studies, because I believe you can always come back to studies at any time. But you can't go back to the game suddenly, and you can't expect results on the game.
Well, what is your ambition and future plans?
As of now, because I think especially my trade has turned upside down, and so now turning this upside down to what it is normally is a big challenge. So we will have to, in fact, every travel agent who started his business after 2.5 years is actually starting minus capital. Nobody will agree on an interview, but the fact is, if I had a wealth of 1 crore or 2 crores pre-COVID, today we have gone at a minus level, and we have restarted our business. So trying to say big words or anything is not going to happen much, because it's a challenge for everybody in my profession. But now I think every travel agent or a travel professional or a travel company has to think out of the box, and because we all know OTAs, the online travel models, are competing with us and gaining on their business every year. They're increasing their business every year. So how do I beat the OTAs is the biggest challenge. So that is where every travel agent has to work, think, and only that way I think our travel industry will be able to come out with what we are facing. And I'm sure we'll see. Travel agents have understood now how to come out and how to compete with an OTA. We're hopeful that every travel agent will be able to pass out that phase of being able to convince a client that we are better than an OTA, because we are very personalized. We are always there for them. We are always, because an OTA, when you call up, nobody takes a call, but here I'm there taking every hardship that a client goes through. I'm able to service him, and and we are very personalized, and I should say very personalized service is extended from a travel agent, which doesn't happen through an OTA.
One spontaneous question, Andy. COVID has changed the lives of people. Even you could have faced challenges in tourism. So, how was the experience in the past 2 years?
Well, I'll repeat the word upside down is where I would like to start, and I think no industry was as affected as the tourism thing. Unfortunately, governments gave no support to the travel fraternity, expected us to come back on our own, which we have eventually come back on our own. It was so difficult to pay the employees. It was so difficult to sustain the employees, because there was zero income, and paying to employees with zero income was not possible. And we always had this fear of third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave happening. We never understood, what is in store for the future. It took a lot of countries to understand that they need to open up and take this as a common flu or a common fever and move on, which eventually the world has now started to move on. But we have seen deaths within our fraternity. We have seen the how families were shattered. But however, we as a fraternity have taken the responsibility of. We had 3 agents who passed away, and one agent has 2 young kids, 2 young daughters he had. So we have taken the onus of their education on us. And even in such time where we were itself bleeding, we still understood that it is our responsibility to take on, and we shall be taking care of their education until they finish their education. And I'm thankful to the whole travel fraternity of the state who had agreed and come forward to contribute to their education. And so that's what we have done as an association front. We had a lot of dialogues with the government. And during COVID, I think one good thing that we did is have a lot of webinars through the Zoom. Fortunately, we had a new technology called Zoom that came in our way. We organized a lot of knowledge sessions, and we kept the fraternity alive, making them not lose hope and making them understand, okay, this is the time that you invest on knowledge, invest on product knowledge, and invest on and understand how you have to take your business post COVID, and how to take on the OTAs as days come. Because for a smaller agent, the biggest difficult thing that he'll face is facing the OTA rates. Big and middle agents will be able to compete with an OTA, but a smaller agent. So then we made them understand that we need to consolidate. Consolidating between us is eventually going to beat the OTAs. So we had all these kind of knowledge sessions and making them understand. Some agents have understood, some have not understood. We are still continuing with this dialogue of making them agents understand, that we need to consolidate, and consolidating is only the future of how we can compete with an OTA. So there is a shift. People are thinking now. People are, for example, me as a company, we understood that consolidation is only the future. And then 12 agents who were strong in each of the states, we came together to form one company called Connect India, basically to consolidate with a target of how to beat the OTAs. And and the success has paid off, because today we are able to sell 1,000 to 1,500 lesser than what the OTAs sell. So we're telling every agent this is what they should do. You should try and consolidate. Or each one of you consolidate between yourself. You pick up one hotel, you consolidate, we'll all buy from you. So we've been telling agents, but I don't know how much time it will take for them to eventually understand that that is the only way forward. Because I believe that, and I tell all the travel fraternities across every market that the future is only consolidating. For example, an agent sitting in Visakhapatnam should consolidate on a hotel, and he should be able to sell this to the rest of the other fraternity across the Indian market. Sure, an OTA will not be able to compete with a consolidator of a particular hotel. So, for example, I go pre-purchase an hotel. I buy 200 room nights at a specific rate. No OTA can compete with me. So this is what we are trying to tell agents across to start consolidating. So then, when we all become one consolidating each other, I think we will be able to take the OTAs. And a lot of, I know it will be a very rude remark to make. Fortunately or unfortunately, I should say unfortunately, the national associations, I would not take the names, have actually failed have failed to make the agents understand what is the right way forward. But a lot of regional associations like us, we are limited to the state, we could think beyond what the national associations were thinking. And we could tell our agents. So I honestly believe, national associations, when they call themselves national, should think better, because they believe they have a better, knowledge, or they can do a better brainstorming than, since they believe it. So they should, the national association should focus on showing a path to, since they failed, what we did regionally, like we are called the Tours and Travels Association of Andhra Pradesh. So likewise, there are regional associations across the country. We have ITOI, which is the eastern states, which represents West Bengal and the eastern states. Then we have Gujarat travel agents, Maharashtra travel agents, we have Telangana, we have Bangalore, which is a very strong unit of the Karnataka tourism firm. We have the Kerala Travel Mart, which is very strong for it. We have all come together, and we are trying to form a new regional association called Federation of Regional Travel Associations. And if this happens, honestly, we'll be the biggest travel association in the country. And here our idea is not to lead, and our idea is to set example of every regional association to start working on consolidation, because that is the only way forward to beat an OTA on a longer run. And if they don't realize that, let me honestly tell you, all this trade will be out of business in the next 5-6 years, and OTA will start gaining on to take the maximum business out of a client. So we need to tell the market that we have better rates, which would take a year, year and a half to 2 years to go to the market, tell I have a better rate than OTA. But for that I need to consolidate. For that will take a year. It take a year, year and a half to tell the market, and the OTAs would start gaining on business. They would start increasing their, the threshold of percentage of business. So everybody should understand that this is the right time to do it, because during COVID, all OTAs failed. They were never taking a call, and today, they again suddenly come alive trying to talk as if they're gods of the industry. But where were these people during the COVID time? And they all disappeared. You call up, there was not a single person who was taking your call. There was no responsibility. It took you 2 years or 3 years to get back those amounts. So people should also realize that it is important to sustain and support a local travel agent, not a Chinese invested company. And this is what all of us should understand. See, tomorrow they will also face the same kind of thing through online purchases. See, today a trader also is sitting on the same amount. So each one of us should understand, and everybody, that we should start supporting the local trade. I should stop going online. And I think, people like our Prime Minister should be the first persons who should come forward, because they should understand that our economy survives not on MNCs, and survives on the grassroots business community, which is 30% or 40% of the chunk of the Indian community. And if we are killed through the OTAs, because they have, I don't know whether it is true. Somebody was telling me MMT is sitting on huge losses. Why is a company which is sitting on huge losses allowed to undersell a product? And I know a hotel gives at 1,500, but they sell at 1,000. They sell 500 rupees, they lose money. Yes. Nobody understands this kind of a logic. Why most of these companies do it, online companies do it. So, government should understand that they should technically support, and I should also understand that I should not go online and buy a shirt. I should go down to my local vendor and buy. So everybody, and this should be the way we think forward. I think this change has to come in a bigger manner between all of us. Today, since I am feeling the pinch of OTAs taking a huge chunk of our business, I should also understand that I've been doing the same mistake when it comes to buying a product, going online and buying a shirt, going online and buying something. I should start looking to going back to the local vendor, and each one of us should stop this online purchase, because we don't know what is the quality until it comes to us. And half of the time we end up buying a wrong color and a material or a product that is a little cheaper. And most of them don't survive for more than 2-3 months. I buy an electronic item, we all know. So I think, this is how all of us should think. I would also suggest that every fraternity thinks this way, and I think only then the industry would survive. I mean, CI, the Chambers of Commerce, the Government of India, everybody should start initiating, looking at foreign investments being made in OTAs or in online companies, and they take our money away, and it's taken off to a foreign country. I think we should stop it here, and government should seriously look at it.
So nice of you, sir. Well, being into tourism, what are the countries you have been traveled so far, and which is the best place you feel at?
I've almost traveled across the globe, but to say that one country is good, will be a very wrong statement, because every country has its own USP of selling. For example, when you go to Maldives, you are in water. See, it gives you that togetherness, which no other country would give, because you're absolutely for yourself in an island. So this is nothing but a togetherness. I think a couple who go to Maldives will come out differently. They will become more netted. They will think better. They will feel more like a family, because they have no sightseeing Sunday. Like a honeymooner goes to another country. Morning goes over a city tour, comes in the night. 9 o'clock is tired. Half of the time they sleep. But if you go to Maldives, it's a different USP. You go to Thailand, it's got a lot of nightlife. You go to Malaysia, it's got a USP. So every country's got a different USP, and so I would never say that this country is the best, that this country is not the best. To me, every country has got its own USP, and every country has got something to offer, which is unique for that country, which is different from the other countries. So I feel it is blessed for anybody to go see different countries, and then understand their culture, what they have to offer, what is unique in that country. Everything is different, and to my understanding, I will never agree on that to say that this country is the best.
And Vijay Mohan garu, finally, your best wishes for DT20 Premier Cricket League organizer Anil Pendela garu and Dr. TDR Reddy garu.
Yeah, I've already said that a couple of times, Andy, that they should be successful. But to make it more official, I'd say I would wish them all the luck, and the best of luck, rather to say, and wish them all success, because the idea that they have taken up is a wonderful idea, and I'm sure they would not stop here. I would ask them to look at a Vijayawada League. I would ask them to look at a Bombay League, a Chennai League, and a Bangalore League, and to take it more forward, have more, and I would definitely be able to support them when it comes to do cricketing tours abroad. Like, for example, we can look at Singapore, because the biggest thing, the coach there is a Telugu person called Sharika Sivaprasad. That's the biggest thing. We can work closely with him. So also Thailand, we have a lot of Indians who play a lot of. There are a lot of Indian cricket clubs which are basically played by Indians. Then we look at going to US, where another son of Vishakhapatnam called Raghu is a coach there. He's got his own cricket club. So we could look at various levels and make use of the sons of Andhra Pradesh at least, and try to work with them. We've been working with them closely, and we will, and probably we can do these cricket leagues of doctors, going on cricket tours abroad, seeing the destination, playing a couple of matches, understand, and then having some fun and coming back. And so I had given this suggestion to Anil that it's just not the league. We should also look at tours to doctors. And yesterday he's talking to me, in fact, that we should probably do a cricket tour to Singapore and to Thailand, and to Malaysia and Dubai. He had 4 in mind. All 4 are good destinations to visit, because we have cricketing loving friends across, Indians who are there settled, and even I know that Thai Cricket Club has a few Thai people also who play cricket there. Even Singapore, they was just at Oman playing their the Asian Cup qualifier and the World Cup qualifiers were happening there. So I'd seen a lot of Singaporeans playing serious cricket for their country. We also had a few Indian origin and other country origin people there. But I think we should take this beyond a league. Give the doctors more recreation, take them on foreign tours to eventually play cricket and then understand and see countries. So I think we can do a lot more than the reason for forging an alliance with both Mr. Anil and Dr. was to look at this aspect of how we can organize in foreign countries, how we can help them, how we can support them, and what we can do for them. Was the initial click idea that came in, and then we eventually, since it was happening in Vizag, and Vizag is our strength, we went into a kind of an alliance to support them out here.
Thank you so much, Vijay Mohan garu. It's been a big pleasure to have your words, to have sharing your experience. And finally, we will finish up with the signature shot, that is, there is a slogan, Kelo Dil Se. We'll be getting that in a short time.